We live in an age of instant gratification. 280 character posts on Twitter, or X as we now call it, short form vertical videos that barely register as they flicker across our retinas, global news reduced to political sound bites and clickbait headlines. I read just such a headline yesterday. It came out of Australia and it stopped me in my tracks. BHP says the return of unions is the definition of unproductive. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar, BHP is a mining giant. In this instance, they're actually talking about extracting iron ore in Western Australia. They know a thing or two about productivity. Australian mines are finely tuned machines, extracting as much as possible for as little as possible. Productivity is their middle name, it's in their DNA. So when the world's biggest mining company starts publicly fretting about a potential loss of productivity, people pay attention. But here's the thing, there's more to this story than a single line in a press release. According to reports, BHP says the outcome of union attempts to regain a foothold in the iron ore industry will influence whether it triggers a potential multi-billion-dollar investment. BHP's CEO, Mike Henry, claims that any dent in productivity would make it harder to justify investing in Western Australia. Now, at this point, most readers probably sighed and thought, yeah, typical bloody unions, slowing everything down again. That's certainly the tone of the article, which frames the story as unions threatening efficiency, shaking the system, and generally being a nuisance. What it doesn't do is explain how or why the return of a union might undermine productivity. If it meant workers taking extended breaks to attend union meetings or spending hours at negotiation tables, maybe BHP has a point. But even that is simplistic. Unions are more than meeting rooms and wage disputes. For a union to reappear after decades of absence, there must surely be a reason, a grievance, a need. Maybe workers are no longer content with their conditions. Maybe they're tired of silence. Maybe they feel like they're machines themselves, replaceable, voiceless, and spent. Let's not forget that BHP is a pioneer in autonomous mining. The company operates more than 40 driverless mining trucks in Western Australia alone. While those machines are maintained by humans, they've still taken 40 jobs off the books. And if they run those trucks on double shifts, that's 80 human jobs replaced in the name of efficiency. The very notion of productivity then has become a loaded term. It's a synonym for doing more with less. And yes, apparently sometimes that means doing more with less people. Now, all of this probably seems a world away in Australia, but it should hit home for those of us in the demolition and construction industry right here in the UK, because we're not far behind. In our world too, productivity is everything. Do more, do it quicker, do it cheaper, repeat. Autonomous machines are not science fiction. They're lurking just beyond the horizon. Already here in some places, and much like in mining, we too have a vacuum where workers' voices used to be. There are no unions with teeth, no mass representation, just individuals navigating an industry that chews people up and spits them out again. Now, let me be clear here, I'm not waving a union banner. I've been a member of two unions in my life and I left both of them under a cloud. But let me ask you this. Would so many skilled workers have been forced out of secure, permanent employment and into agency work or zero-hour contracts if there was a strong union standing behind them? Would the epidemic of mental health issues in our sector be allowed to fester and go unaddressed if thousands of voices were channeled through a single, powerful entity? Would safety be sidelined in the name of speed if someone had the authority to say no more? This isn't a call for the rebirth of old school unions with their bureaucracy, infighting, and trademark arrogance. That model may no longer fit the modern world. But the need for representation, for a collective voice, is surely more urgent than ever. Because the truth is, we're seeing direct employment slowly being eroded, swept away in pursuit of flexibility. We're watching health and safety regulations treated as checkboxes rather than lifelines. And we're already seeing jobs begin to disappear in the name of efficiency and progress. And no one is speaking up. No one is raising the alarm on behalf of the men and women who show up before dawn, work in the mud, the dust, the noise, and the danger, who build the world and then tear it back down again. We often celebrate the machines, the technology, the innovation, but those machines don't build, people do. Machines don't mentor the apprentice or watch your back when a wall buckles. Machines don't call your family if something goes wrong. And yet, machines are getting louder in our industry, not in sound, but in presence. Meanwhile, the humans around them are growing quieter, fewer, more disposable, and more afraid to speak. Because here's the hard truth: in the pursuit of productivity, people have become a problem to be solved, a cost to be cut, an inefficiency to be streamlined. So when the machines do start replacing jobs, your job or your mate's job, who will speak for you? Will it be the HR rep whose bonus depends on cost savings? Will it be the equipment supplier selling the robot that replaces you? Will it be the government department run by someone who's never set foot on a site? Or will there be silence? Because that's what we've got now: silence. Silence on suicide, on burnout, on broken backs and missed birthdays and lives shortened by an industry that measures time in billable hours. If unions can no longer provide that balance, then we need something else that can. Because right now, we have nothing, and the silence is deafening. So the next time you see a headline like BHP's "The Return of Unions is the Definition of Unproductive," take a moment. Not to get angry, not to shout, just to think. Think about what productivity really means. Think about who gets to define it. Think about what we've already lost in the name of progress, and what more might be lost if no one asks those hard questions. And maybe wonder who's left to ask those questions.